Welcome to another episode of What's Working with Cam Marston, presented by Coastal Alabama Community College. Our focus is workplace and workforce trends. We're always looking for ideas and businesses and people that are doing things that will inspire the rest of us to perhaps take our own business to the next level. We're also looking for workplace experts who have a unique expertise into some element of the workplace. They're often consultants that will that we can kind of listen to their ideas that will hopefully take our business to the next level. So I'm always combing the marketplace looking for people, whether it's in our Mobile community or outside, to learn something from. Now, if you're a fan of the show, you've listened to perhaps two of what I call my indulgence shows. The first was an indulgence in spending time on the phone with John Papagro, a keyboardist from New Orleans, and plays the New Orleans keyboard sound. He's busy, and to be busy, a busy musician in New Orleans, it means you've got to be good because the demand for good quality music there is higher than it is in most places. The second indulgence show was with George Porter Jr., the former bassist for the Meters. If you're not familiar with the Meters, old school New Orleans funk, late 60s, early 70s, and George's still out there cutting it up and doing a great job. He is considered by many to be one of the leaders of bass guitar for funk bands and a nice guy, a really nice guy. I spent about an hour on the phone with him for one of these episodes. Today, we'll go in the same direction. This is another indulgence episode. We're really kind of grabbing at straws here, trying to figure out workplace ideas, motivations, etc. with our upcoming guests. And I'll tell you the story real quickly. It was about, I'm guessing, 12 to 15 years ago that I was walking through the French Quarter, and there's a New Orleans music store. We used to be located across the street from the House of Blues in New Orleans. And I walked in there, and the owner of this store is a notoriously unpleasant fella. A gruff guy. And I thought, well, he's going to treat me poorly, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. What's the worst that can happen? And I said to him, hey, I'm looking for some funk music that kind of picks up where the Meters left off. I'd love somebody that's still active so I could catch them live. Who can you suggest? And he led me to this bin of CDs at the time and pointed me to this band called Galactic. And I said, well, okay, I'll give it a try. Well, I loved it, man. I loved it. And the more I listened to what they were playing, the more I began to notice the drums. The drummer for this band was outstanding. And I thought, gosh, this guy is fantastic. Who is he? Did a little bit of research. His name is Stanton Moore. Stanton is a drummer for Galactic. He's a drummer for a small handful of bands, but Galactic is the one that he's most known for. And his capability on the drums is remarkable. Well, he's the guest on today's episode of What's Working with Cam Marston, presented by Coastal Alabama Community College. I want to learn about his passion for this instrument, the drums. I want to learn about how he's learned it so well. And what you'll do if you Google his name is you'll realize that he's now teaching it online. He's developed an online course where people can subscribe and learn to play drums taught by him in these videos. He also travels the country doing drum seminars. He'll book out a conference room and people bring their own drums and he sits in the front and teaches people. So here's an artist, here's a musician that has developed a new line for his business, that has developed a new way to sell his expertise. We're going to get Stanton Moore on the phone here in just a moment. We're going to learn about what he does to stay sharp, what he does to stay in front of his marketplace, and how he defines that marketplace. Stanton Moore coming up on What's Working with Cam Marston, presented by Coastal Alabama Community College.
I'm Michael Coward. My team and I will work with your corporate team to help you with your executive employee benefit plans. We offer executive retirement plans that allow you to favor your leadership team as well as 401k plans for your entire company. We've served the Mobile market for over 20 years. Call us at 251-342-0446 or find us online at cowardassociates.com. That's COWART associates.com.
Securities offered through Pro Equities, member FINRA, SIPC. Hey, this is Cam Marston. If sales in your business comes from prospecting to create leads that lead to sales, I want to tell you about Sales Up Coach, a cloud-based system created for the next generation of sales professional. There's a big difference between being busy and being effective. And Sales Up Coach helps salespeople who rely on prospecting uncover which of their activities produce the greatest results. Over time, Sales Up Coach's machine learning hones salespeople's schedule to focus only on activities that generate the most bang for the buck. Your sales team interacts with Sales Up Coach on their smartphone, and sales managers can instantly generate reports to see who is on goal and who may need additional support. Go online and take a look at this new and very powerful sales tool. Go to salesupcoach.com/Cam Marston. Watch your sales team's productivity change.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. This is presented by Coastal Alabama Community College. If you notice the music as we come back for break, the song or the tune was Blues for Ben. It's off an album called All Cooked Out. The guy that did that album is Stanton Moore, and Stanton Moore is on the line with me right now from New Orleans. Stanton, thank you for your time. Welcome to What's Working.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having me, Cam. I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to license that music from you. I have friends of mine that come up and say, hey, Cam, the best part of your show is that music that comes in and out. I'm like, thanks, man. I work hard on every show, and you like the 7 seconds of the music that comes in and out. So it's a compliment to you. But I like it, too. I remember when I first heard it, I turned it up, and I thought I'm going to figure out a way to use this. Now, Stanton, I want to begin by counting some things for you here and then come up with a question. 7 albums to your name, 10 albums with Galactic. We'll talk about your role as a member of a band here. 4 albums with Garage à Trois, 10 albums where you contributed to, one of which got you a Grammy from your work with, her name is, Irma Thomas, After the Rain. Mm-hmm. According to IMDb, you're on 7 different soundtracks. You got a special thanks for your role in Whiplash. I'd like to hear about that, perhaps. I loved that. And you've been on 7 episodes of Late Night with Seth Meyers. You have a remarkable amount of talent. Anybody that studies drummers or is familiar with Galactic or your work knows that. But my suspicion is the success you've seen in your career comes from a work ethic. You are an individual contributor in many cases. You also serve as a role in the band with an extraordinary work ethic, is what it appears to me. Talk to me about this combination of talent and work ethic and what you think it's done for you.
Yeah, well, that's a nice observation, and I appreciate you saying all those things. And I do believe that I'm solely where I'm at because of the work ethic. You know, I think talent sometimes is overrated, but it's nice to have talent, but to really excel in life, I think you have to back it up with that work. And we were talking about college a little bit, and yes, college, I did learn a lot about work ethic, about doing things that you don't want to do, turning them in on a deadline, and then you never know when that skill that you're developing will come in handy. And, to backtrack a little bit, though, I think my work ethic really developed and was instilled in me by Marty Hurley, my high school band director, who was a world-renowned rudimental instructor. So, I went to Brother Martin High School just because I wanted to go to the school with the best drum line. I didn't know who Marty Hurley was. And then I got there and I realized, well, wow, to do this, I'm going to have to put in a heck of a lot of work. But I wanted it so badly, I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to put in the work. So I just started working and practicing and taking private lessons with Marty, and then realized that what I really wanted to do was play drum set. So I shifted over and started taking lessons with Johnny Vidakovich. But the work ethic and, learning all these cadences, learning all these performance pieces that I had to play for, in front of judges and all this stuff, and working on all that stuff, with Marty really instilled that work ethic. And then I just applied that to, things as simple as answering every email that comes in my inbox and getting back to people and responding to people and trying to maximize every opportunity that comes through, and it all adds up over time. And once you develop a reputation for being reliable, well, then people start to look at you for other things, and that's really helped in a lot of the aspects of what I've been able to grow into from just the drumming side of things. I mean, I don't think that, the whole Tipitina's deal would have happened unless, the former owner thought that we were reliable and he could trust that we would carry on the legacy of what is Tipitina's. So, that comes to mind as one of the things that just comes from that work ethic. You keep working hard and people know that that's your ethos and your method of operation. And then when they're like, well, this has to go to somebody, who are we gonna bestow this responsibility on? And so you develop through your work ethic a reputation for responsibility and reliability, and then things start to come to you.
Well, I want to make sure that the listeners are aware of what we referred to as the Tipitina's thing. What was it, about 6 months ago? Tipitina's, this iconic historic music venue in New Orleans on the corner of Napoleon and Tchoupitoulas, was sold to the band. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And you guys are now the owners of Tipitina's, and thank goodness for that. It's too important of a place to let go. But you are, I want to talk about you as a businessman, you as a brand. Stanton Moore, you've got a drum academy. You've got 2 books with a 3rd underway. You are known as well outside of the band as Galactic as you are, my estimation, as the drummer of Galactic. You are a businessman with a personal brand. Tell me the responsibility. Tell me how you push that forward. There are a lot of people listening that want to go into business. That's part of the American dream. I want to own a business. I want to start a business. I think I can do something. What I find, and I've gone through this as well, is that I wasn't, and many others aren't aware of the work that it takes as well as the responsibility. Talk to me about yourself as a businessman where your name is the brand.
Yeah, that's something that I'm learning a lot right now. I feel like I'm in a growth spurt, learning about that. And, I'm reading books on marketing and subscribing to information, email lists where I get, a little 3-minute video every day about how to improve your business. So, in a nutshell, because I know we don't have all day to talk, but in a nutshell, it's all about, and people have heard this, but it is all about perseverance, and it is all about, truly believing that you can do it. And then when it gets tough, not quitting. Because, I'll be honest, with the Drum Academy, it's going great. I love it with all of my heart, and I'm going to continue to do it because I already knew I love writing the books. I love doing the DVDs. So with the Drum Academy, I'm just making videos and putting them up on the website, and then writing these lessons in PDFs and putting them up, and it's all there and available, when people subscribe. But now I'm going to start selling them as courses. And so that's part of the growth that I'm working on. And, to be honest, sometimes it feels like it's growing so slowly, but the point of it is not to quit, like with the drum camp. It did really well in years 1 and 2. And in year 3, I lost, a number of things led up to me losing money that year. And I was like, oh man, it was awful.
Yeah.
So
no one gets used to that feeling.
Oh my goodness. So I just rethought of how I could maximize, announce earlier, really, get more behind the email campaign, get not spend as much. And then the 4th year did way better. And now years 5, 6, and now 7, which is coming up in December, are sold out. at 30 people. And so, I could have easily been like, oh, this isn't for me on year 3. But if you're in business for yourself, you have to have a strong constitution because there are times when you're gonna lose some traction, you're gonna lose some money, you're gonna lose you're gonna think, man, this was working. What happens? And so what I've learned is, it's often that you can get that beginning surge of energy where people are like, oh yeah, this is great, and then things are going well, and then by year 3, it's like it takes a dive, and you're like, what is going on? But the key is don't quit and persevere. And so I'm seeing that with the drum camp. So with the drum academy, everything's cool. I'm producing lots of lessons and lots of videos, but I'm just making ends meet right now as far as that goes.
Stan, we got to go to break. We'll pick it up again after break. Folks, you're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm Cam Marston, and the music you'll hear as we go into break is Blues from Ben, from this man on the line with me, Stanton Moore. We'll be right back. Managing a band, running a nightclub, a famous nightclub, one where you don't want to mess up, running online courses, traveling, teaching, filling up seminars with people that are wanting to learn from you. This is a business. It's not just an art. It's not just an artist doing their work. It's a business. And for that reason, if any of this type of stuff were to interest you, you would want to be somewhat familiar with business administration. Coastal Alabama Community College offers a business administration degree. It gives students a basic foundation in business administration and is designed for students who want to transfer to a 4-year university to complete their bachelor's degree. You'll learn accounting, legal and social environment, and micro and macroeconomics. You can learn more about this business administration degree at coastalalabama.edu. You can check their catalog out online, or you can stop by any one of the Coastal Alabama Community College campuses to learn more.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
This is Coastal Alabama Community College, where education is key and where there is opportunity in every classroom. We serve 9 counties with one common goal. Here, we come together to create a brighter future. Together, we inspire. Together, we learn. Together, we succeed. This is Coastal Alabama Community College. All together.
Hi there, I'm Josh Knoll with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. As your business grows and you accumulate wealth, planning to protect your assets becomes more and more important. I work with individuals and business owners throughout Baldwin County to help them protect their prosperity. Call me today at 251-327-2124 or find us at gulfcoastfa.com.
Securities offered through Pro Equities, member FINRA, SIPC. We're back. You're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm Cam Marston, on the line with Stanton Moore. Stanton, you received a Grammy in 2007 for your contribution to Irma Thomas's album After the Rain, which was right in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. You've had a remarkable number of successes out there, but supporting Irma Thomas after Katrina, getting a Grammy for your efforts must have boosted your profile a little bit and helped in some way or another. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's certainly boosted my profile amongst my mom and my aunts. Because Irma Thomas has been their favorite artist since they were kids. They used to go as teenagers and see her at the Lion's Den, and and all these other places that she would play. And so they've been going since kids to see her. So when I got that call, they were elated.
Yes.
And so was I, of course. I mean, she's the queen of New Orleans soul. So I was flattered and honored to get the call. And then to have the record do so well and win a Grammy. I mean, she was just elated and super excited. And her acceptance speech, she burst into tears, and it was moving, you know. So to be a part of that was exceptional. And we've had her work with Galactic as well. And, you know, I've worked with her with Walter Wolfman Washington, and we've had her come out and play with us too. So it's always wonderful to get to work with an artist of her stature and you know, of her legacy. And so that was great. You know, I don't know how much it elevated my status in other circles, but it certainly was great to be able to work with her.
I saw her here in Mobile at the Sanger Theater. She came on, and then Alan Toussaint came on after her, and I was in heaven. Love both of these artists. Alan Toussaint passed away about 2-3 years ago now. New Orleans has taken some hits with their talent recently. It's been a devastating 18 months with a number of people that have passed away. But let's not get into that. It was at the Sanger Theater. I'm sitting in the Sanger. I'm watching Alan Toussaint, and I'm watching Irma Thomas here in Mobile. One of the questions I've always had that maybe you can clarify for me is, how does a booking work? Again, the focus, you and I could talk forever about music, and I would love to ask you 1,000 questions about my favorite artists, but let's keep focused on the show. How does a booking work? Does the Sanger call Galactic? Does Galactic call the Sanger? Does the Sanger promise a minimum? We're going to pay you blank regardless if no one shows up. Who holds the risks on an event at something like the Sanger or something like Red Rocks, where I saw your Instagram page? You had some great times at Red Rocks. Who holds the risk? How does that work?
Right. That's a great question. And the answer is unfortunately not a simple answer, but and it's, I don't want to say case by case, but so let's stick with the Sanger, right? So the Sanger may have their own promoter that promotes for the Sanger and their own talent buyer, or they could work with an outside promoter, somebody like Live Nation or AEG or, and it depends. And, you know, let me talk about, if you don't mind, a little bit more on what I know, right? So take Tipitinas, for example.
There we go.
Right?
Good. Yeah.
So sometimes Tipitinas will reach out to a local act and say, hey, we have a Friday night we're trying to fill. We all do it. Okay. And then our talent buyer will reach out to them. They'll come up with usually a guarantee, which the guarantee is usually in the middle of what we expect. And then if it sells out, then or if it sells over this amount of tickets, then we give you a percentage of that as well on top of the guarantee. But if nobody shows up and we guaranteed that band X amount of dollars, well, then that's on Tipitinas.
Yeah.
And we have to eat that expense. Now, we also are starting to work with outside promoters. So if an outside promoter comes and says, we have this national act, we want to bring them in on this exact date, this is the only date they're available. Well, we may have had somebody maybe planned, and these are called holds. So you have first hold, second hold, and then you can challenge these holds. So if an outside promoter comes with a national act and they want to challenge the hold, and then they want to bring this person in, and then maybe they are guaranteeing the promoter is guaranteeing the fee, right? And then so therefore Tipitina is providing the room and the staff and the bar and the beverages and all that. So it is it depends, and then there are times when, let's say from the other angle with Galactic, when we want to book a tour, our booking agent reaches out, okay, we want to play San Francisco on October 23rd. So we're going to go to our first choice, which is the Warfield. And the Warfield might tell us, well, we can put you down for second hold. We already have a first hold. So then we may have to challenge that at some point, where if they can't confirm and then we're ready to confirm, then we will get that hold.
Yes.
So it's, the music business is there's a lot of moving parts. It's always changing, and it's always, almost like a case by case kind of thing, and each gig that you do, you have to get paid for that gig. So it's not like, you sign up for a job and then you get your paycheck from the HR department, and they send you your paycheck every week. It's like every gig we play, we've got to track down the money.
So how many, let's talk about Galactic real quick. How many band members on stage playing are in the band Galactic?
5.
How many others are getting paid when Galactic is at the Warfield in San Francisco? Does Galactic have roadies and managers and light people? Could there be another 10 people for a total of 15 that have to get paid every time Galactic performs?
Yes, absolutely. So there's the 5 partners, which are myself, Robert Mercurio on bass, Jeff Rains on guitar, Rich Vogel on keys, and Ben Ellman on sax. And those are the partners, and we are the partners who bought Tipitinas as well. So that's the original members since 1996. And then we have a singer with us at all times now, and an extra horn player. So those 2 people get paid as well. And then when we travel, we have 4 crew. So we have a road manager, we have a front of house sound guy who is also the production manager, we have a stage tech, and then we also have a lighting guy. So that's 4 people. So that's 11 people on the road. But then we have our manager, and within our management, we have day-to-day people who help our manager do all the detail stuff. And then we also have our booking agent, and our booking agent has people that help him as well. So it's a lot. It's a lot of...
it is a lot, which means you must need... I have no idea what Galactic charges for a date, but it means you must need, I'm making a number up, 75 dates a year to just keep the lights on and to pay everybody.
Yeah, on average, we try to average 100. 100
performances a year.
Yes.
And you're touring in, I assume, a bus, a van,
correct,
something like that?
A bus with a trailer.
Is everybody in there together?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
All the 11, the 7 band and the 4 crew. Now, our manager will maybe fly in occasionally, and our booking agent, they fly in for some of the bigger gigs just to make sure everything runs smoothly, and also to try to get some FaceTime with the promoter and say hi. And we're usually friends with a lot of these promoters, like Red Rocks, and some of the other places that we play that are, important places that we want to maintain our good relationships. Our manager and agent will fly in, but they don't travel on the bus.
So I was following the Stones this summer as they toured the U.S. They had their own Delta airplane. They flew from place to place. They had their own Delta plane. It appeared that they all stayed in different nice hotels at every destination that they went to, the ones that they chose. You must look at that. And you're a successful band. You're a very successful band, but there's a whole nother level out there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's a whole another several levels.
Yeah. So they're filling up the Superdome. They've got their own private Delta airplane, giant plane with just them on it, maybe some fans and friends and family and stuff like that. And do you get a sniff of that every now and then? Do you see? It reminds me of Bull Durham, where the guy says, I played in the majors one time, and no, you never touch your suitcase, and you hit with all white balls. Do you get a sniff of what the next level looks like from time to time?
I mean... not really. I mean, we went to the Stones show, and I got to meet Charlie Watts and go on stage and see his drums and all that kind of stuff. And that was really, really super cool. And Charlie was very, very sweet, and that was amazing to get that experience and go see that. But as far as us traveling like that or anything, I'll give you a funny story. I booked a gig in Anchorage, Alaska with Skerrick, and this was Thursday night, and it's been booked for months. Then Galactic gets a gig about 4 weeks ago, gets a call to play in Austin, Texas, because there's a football game between LSU and Texas there, right? In Austin. So they want Galactic to come play. So my management calls and says, we got this offer, and I already found we can put you on a red eye, and get you to Austin. It's going to be kind of brutal for you, but if you do this, then we'll be able to bonus the whole band at the end of the year.
Yeah, this
will be an extra gig. This will be lanyard. So I'm like, well, way to put me in a position. So I said, a lot of times we fly coach, sometimes we get upgraded to first class, but I said, all right, I will do it if you get me first class. Right. So it was nice to, I said, but I had to go from the airport. From the gig, from the stage in Alaska to the airport, get on the plane. And it was nice. So that was great to be able to sit in first class and all that. And this is the moment that I'm getting to. So I was like, man, I'm just going to knock myself out and take, get some sleep. So I'm dozing off, and they come and ask, what would you like once we're in the air? I said, well, let me get a little glass of red wine so it'll help me sleep.
1 minute to break, Stanton. 1 minute.
Okay, so then I doze off, and I wake up about 2 hours into the flight. And then my glass of red wine was just right there waiting for me. They brought it to me while I was asleep, and I woke up, and there was my glass of red wine.
Yeah.
Mid sleep, took a little sip off that, went back to sleep. So, so we never travel at that level, but it was nice to be in first class and wake up to a glass of wine.
You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marstons, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College, our new sponsor. Grateful to have them on board. You're listening to Stanton Moore. Stanton is the drummer for Galactic. He's the author of 3 books. He has, 7 different albums to your name, 10 with Galactic, and the author of the music that we hear in our breaks that he has graciously allowed me to license from him. You mentioned earlier, Stanton, you answer every email. I remember emailing you about this and think I'll never hear from him. And you did, and that's the music we use. We'll be right back with Stanton Moore.
Think about your home. What do you see? Do you just see 2 stories, or the stories of your toddler's first steps? Now think about your car. Do you see an odometer reading, or your kids reading in the back seat? Other insurance companies just see a house. They just see a car. But a State Farm agent sees what your home and your car really mean to you. So why not give them the protection they deserve?
You can reach me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, at AllisonHorner.com.
I'm Michael Coward. My team and I will work with your corporate team to help you with your executive employee benefit plans. We offer executive retirement plans that allow you to favor your leadership team as well as 401k plans for your entire company. We've served the Mobile market for over 20 years. Call us at 251-342-0446 or find us online at cowardassociates.com. That's COWART associates.com.
Securities offered through Pro Equities, member FINRA, SIPC.
You need some college in your life. Get trained to repair and maintain aircrafts at Coastal Alabama Community College's Aviation Center in Mobile and Fairhope. Get your career off the ground and sign up for classes today. Learn more at coastalalabama.edu, Alabama's lowest tuition.
Today is what you make it. Make it as original as your personal playlist. Only Community Coffee is made with 4 generations of family care and responsibly sourced premium coffee beans, expertly blended and roasted to rich, smooth perfection. Visit communitycoffee.com to learn more and make it great. Make it community. Pick up our signature blend dark roast at your local grocery store today.
We're back. I'm Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. Stanton Moore is on the line with me. He is the drummer for Galactic as well as a sole proprietor of many small businesses that teach drums and books and videos, etc. Stanton, you mentioned before the break that your partners, you didn't call them bandmates, you called them partners in Galactic. Are you all equal partners? Is there somebody that gets an unequal share or more or due to them being the decision maker or something like that?
Right. That's a good question. No, we're all equal partners, 20% each. And then different guys do play different roles. within the band. Robert Mercurio and Ben Ellman do a lot of our production, and that's cool. And then, different guys contribute different things, like ideas for the lighting, or ideas for, songs, or ideas for different things we want to do on stage. And so, we've been together so long now that since 1996, we've been on the road, averaging 100 dates a year. And we don't really plan on stopping that anytime soon. That we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary together next year. We'll be announcing that and advertising it that way. So we've come to kind of a sometimes spoken, sometimes unspoken agreement of everybody's role within the organization. And we've tried to become more and more accepting and tolerant of each other.
Yeah.
As time goes on. And, we fight very rarely. I don't think we ever fight. We might get a little bit testy with each other. And, sometimes opinions come out and we may not agree, but we always try to resolve it, very civilly. I mean, it's trying to live on a 350 square foot bus 100 days a year with 11 people, it can be challenging, but I think that we do a really good job of navigating that. And we'll still hang out with each other and go places together, even when we're not touring,
Is there ever any question of you? You've got the Drum Academy. You've got your books. You've got this, you for example, gave the example of playing with Skerrick in Anchorage. You've got it looks like a standing gig at Snug Harbor. You've got a lot of work outside of Galactic. Do you ever get feedback from them? Hey, Stanton, you need to give the band a little bit more attention. All these ancillary things are pulling you away. Your role in this band is too important to have you so scattered like this. Is there ever that challenge?
No, not really. I mean, in the earlier days, maybe, but the way that I do it is I let the Galactic stuff fall in place first. And that's usually, 8, 10, 12 months in advance we book, Yeah. And so then I know well in advance what holes I have. And if there's something important that I really want to do, like the Percussive Arts Society International Convention this year, I'm doing that. So I had to block off that weekend until Galactic, I can't do any gigs that weekend. And then a Galactic gig came in anyway, and I'm going to wind up doing it, but it won't interfere with my actual day of performance. So it's a give and take. It's a back and forth. And, but we've, like I said, over this amount of time, we've been able to figure it out. So, while I'm flying, while I'm traveling with Galactic, I'm writing all the time. So writing drum lessons, and, those serve as like my script, and I put those up on my academy. And then when I get into town, then I go in and film. And then and while I'm out on the road, my film guys can edit, and then we crank stuff out. I don't have to be present all the time to crank that material. So I've really learned how to kind of do things, delegate and have people helping me with stuff while I'm on the road with Galactic. And so Galactic always comes first, really. And very rarely I'll have to say, okay, I can't do anything that weekend because I have a wedding, or I have, a big convention that I only do once every 5 years that I really want to be a part of, or a big drum festival that has been trying to get me for a while. But most of the time, Galactic comes first. I let that schedule come into play, and then I figure out how to do everything else around it.
You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm on with Stanton Moore. Stanton, I remember talking to John Papagrow, and he was talking to me about the niche, filling a niche as a New Orleans drummer. I said, John, when you're trying to get a band together for an event, what are you doing? He said, well, I got to figure out who the audience is and then what the musicians I need. And he told me that there's this niche as a New Orleans drummer, that he could essentially send a message out to a community and saying, I'm looking for a New Orleans drummer. Now, you're busy selling your materials as an author, selling your materials in the videos that you produce. I see samples of them on YouTube and on Instagram, and they're remarkable. I can't understand how someone could make so much noise with only 4 appendages. It's amazing.
Thank you.
But is your success in this community outside of Galactic, the lessons you teach, because you're fill this niche, the New Orleans drummer, or is there something else that people are buying from you?
Well, I think that I do fit into that niche, and I have consciously tried to do that. But then also, I think I play with a lot of energy. I play, with a lot of passion in a way that I think that interests people, that catches people sometimes. And sometimes people may not even be aware that it is a New Orleans thing. But, I'm also on my, next book is focusing on how I apply rudimental stuff to the drums, right? So I also want to be aware not to lock myself into that niche, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So, I've really kind of doubled down on that in the last several years, especially starting the academy. It's like, well, let me start with things that people know from me best. And now I'm starting to plan material and curriculum that is more widespread, that is more outside of the New Orleans niche, and more appealing to a wider audience. I think I've definitely established myself in that niche, and now I'm going to be conscious of trying to spread from that. But to get things started, especially with this academy, I wanted to go with what I know and double down on that, and now we can expand from that.
What is a New Orleans drummer? Describe what we're talking about here. I don't even know the language to use.
Yeah, well, it describes a feel, and if you asked 100 people this question, you'd get 100 different answers. But to me, a New Orleans drummer is someone who is comfortable playing in one way or another second line, right? So you have traditional second line, which would be like Herlin Riley, Shannon Powell, Preservation Hall. You have more of the funk second line, which would be more Zigaboo Modal East. You have Johnny Vodakovich, who was kind of, in between a modern second line and sometimes, dipping into a very contemporary sounding approach. But sometimes he can also dip into the more traditional side of things. But the unifying thread in all of that is that these different guys have some kind of understanding of second line, and that permeates in anything that they do. So even if the simplest grooves, having that understanding of second line still supports that, and that makes it a little bit more. It makes it the feel a little bit more grounded and organic. But to me, the New Orleans drummer, the type of New Orleans drummer that I'm trying to be, is also very versatile and versed in traditional New Orleans jazz, contemporary and modern New Orleans jazz, funk, second line, as we already said, but also, shuffles and blues and jazz. And so the New Orleans drummers that I really try to absorb and draw influence from are guys like Herlin Riley, Shannon Powell, and you could put these guys on any gig and they would sound amazing.
Yeah.
You could put Herlin Riley on a big band gig, put him on a piano trio, have him play with George Porter in a Art Neville tribute, he was playing with Dr. John before Dr. John passed. So Herlin Riley, extremely versatile, sounds good in anything, but is also the greatest second line drummer you'll ever hear in your life.
So we got about 3 more minutes, and I know you teach a lot and you engage with lots of drummers. I remember hearing an interview with Johnny Vodakovich that was broadcast of WWOZ, And he talked about his teaching and then having you come along, and you wouldn't leave him alone. And you were showing up at times where there weren't lessons scheduled, and you had things that you were presenting to him, ideas that you were asking him to comment on. And his comments on that show were something like, I knew there was something special here. I knew there was a kid who really was something special. Have you met you yet in the next generation?
It's funny that you asked that. Sometimes, yes. And then sometimes, you'll go a long time where you're like, man, where are these guys? Like, I would hope that there are some guys who are, trying as hard as I was when I was a kid. And so now that you asked that, there's actually two of them right now. And I'm very proud of both of them, and they're both sounding better all the time. And one of them is Ian Molinaro Thompson. He moved to New Orleans after going to Berkeley, but he would come here and study with me for 4 days in a row. Mm-hmm. He did that 2 summers in a row. And then he moved here, and long story short, I just recommended him for Terrence Simeon, 2-time Grammy Award-winning Lafayette artist. And so he's playing with Terrence Simeon now, and Terrence says he loves him, and he's doing great. And he's like, bro, thank you so much. And then the other guy is Tanner Gus. And Tanner, both of these guys come out, and they sit in at Snug Harbor. They ask me questions all the time. And they're really, really excelling at a rapid rate and sounding better and better. But they show up, and they come out, they sit in. After they sit in with me, they go off and sit in with somebody else. And before they sat in with me that night, they've been to sit in with Shannon Powell at Preservation Hall. And, that's the kind of stuff you need to do, is just be out in it all the time, asking questions, sitting in. And that's what I did. And I don't see that all the time, but it's funny. Right now, there are 2 of them. And I introduced them to each other. I was like, this is your new best friend. Y'all trade numbers and go hang out with each other. And now they do. They're like buddies. So it's really cool. So I don't always see it, but right now I'm seeing it. I got 2 of them. So it's awesome.
That's great. The future of the New Orleans drummer is going to be passed on carefully, meticulously, and it sounds like you're going to be one of the stewards of that.
Well, thank you very much for saying that.
Well, I hope so. I enjoy it so much. My escapes over to New Orleans about 2-3 times a year to get to music in my bones. It's part of the highlight of every year. Folks, Stanton Moore. Stanton Moore is the drummer with Galactic. He also has a heck of a business of his own as a sole businessman where his name is the brand, and he sells his drumming expertise, his drum playing expertise. Stanton, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Cam. Great talking to you.
Folks, you're listening to What's Working, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. We'll be right back with final comments. Having the talent is number one. You got to have the talent. You got to work to define that talent and continue to refine that talent. But after you've got that talent and are utilizing it, how do you market it? How do you sell it out there? How do you build businesses around the talent? These are simple questions that require a fundamental underpinning of a general education degree, a fundamental underpinning of the things that will make you successful that can be brought to you by a general education degree. Coastal Alabama Community College offers a general education degree for students who want to transfer to a 4-year university to complete their bachelor's degree. This degree includes courses like history and math and English, small classes, accessible instructors, and many are offered online. Go online to coastalalabama.edu for more information or visit any one of the Coastal Alabama Community College campuses to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jay Stubbs with First Protective. People approaching retirement are concerned about outliving their income and being a burden on their children. They fear chronic illness, and they want to leave a legacy. If you're a life insurance producer or in the traditional investment business and this describes your clients, we can help. Call me, Jay Stubbs, 251-604-7024, or find me online at firstprotective.com.
Coastal Alabama Community College is 3 amazing colleges combined into one incredible institution. And that means we're all together. For more sports, 15 more locations, more friends, more one-on-one time with instructors. way more activities, more courses, a lot more courses, and more success for all of us. Pretty much more of everything. Coastal Alabama Community College is where everyone is. All together! Coastal Alabama Community College. Register today.
We recently gathered information from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics after they released their most recent set of 10-year employment projections. We do these because it provides insight into how the labor market is changing, which is useful for employers who need to figure out what type of workers they'll need. It's useful for students who are trying to figure out what to major in, how to plan their careers, and it's also useful for employees who are thinking about a career transition. This information gives us a sense of where the workplace market is going. Now, these projections have a lot of information. We'll just look at a small part of it today, particularly occupations that will grow and others that will decline. We'll see that a change in the labor market is not just about technology. Undoubtedly, robotics and artificial intelligence and big data, etc., they're important, but it's not the whole story. Jobs in one of the most high-growth categories are those classified as computer and mathematical occupations, and they will grow by 12.7% between 2018 and 2028. That's a lot. This is a much higher growth rate than the overall U.S. labor force, which is about 5.2%. So things look pretty good for this job category. This isn't terribly surprising, though, considering how often high school students are told to choose STEM programs at university. However, as we all know, the devil is in the details, so let's get into those details. To get a better sense of whether or not these jobs will grow, we need to look at some of the specific occupations within that broad category. And when we do that, we see that some jobs will actually decline. For example, the number of computer programmers is projected to decline by about 7% between 2018 and 2028. That's because these jobs are predicted to be offshored more and more. There's very little reason why a programmer needs to do their work at the user's location. Software application developers, on the other hand, often need to do their work on site. Much of what they do involves assessing the needs of and customizing software for individual companies. This is why these jobs are projected to grow by almost 26% between 2018 and 2028. So while computer and mathematical jobs in general will grow, the specific jobs will not grow in the same extent. The same can be said about other broad occupational groups, such as healthcare support occupations. Most of the jobs in this category will grow more than the overall U.S. labor force, which is likely due to an aging population. Simply, older people need more health care, and healthcare support jobs will increase as a result. But the specific jobs within this category will grow to only varying degrees. Home health aides, for example, will grow by about 40%. These are people that are on site giving individual healthcare assistance, like changing band-aids, bandages, and applying medications. Artificial intelligence-driven robots simply can't do that. Yet, anyway, they may. Pharmacy aides, on the other hand, will see their jobs decrease by 12%. Pharmacy aides jobs, they manage pharmacy inventories, which will likely be mechanized. What's the lesson? Technology and computer advances will continue to have an impact on jobs. So too will other things like demographics and aging populations, and the location of where the work must be done, either on-site or off-site. It's interesting. Look from the Bureau of Labor Statistics about the jobs that will be in demand. I want to thank Stanton Moore for his time on the phone today, folks. He is truly a remarkable talent, something very special. Kristen Ogden makes all this stuff work with her ability to schedule these people in our crazy schedules. John Thompson with Ion Digital produces the show. Thanks for your time and attention again today, folks. Have a good week. We'll have another show for you next week. You're listening to What's Working with Cam Marston, brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College.